Imagine a new intelligence has arrived. One so powerful it promises to accelerate science, supercharge our productivity, and basically remake our world. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi movie. This is the very real and yeah, pretty complicated story of GPT-5. So picture this, it's August 2025, and the world gets its first look at GPT-5. The branding was slick, the promises were huge. The smartest, fastest model ever, designed to put expert-level intelligence right into everyone's hands. The hype was absolutely off the charts. And right at the heart of all that buzz was this just massive claim from OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman. He wasn't just promising a better assistant. He was promising an entire team of PhDs in your pocket, ready to solve our toughest problems. I mean, that's a pretty wild, almost utopian vision for AI, right? Okay, but let's be real. What actually happens when you give everyone a pocket-sized genius? Does it end up solving all our biggest problems, or does it create a whole new set of problems we never even saw coming? That's really the core question we're digging into here.
All right, to even start answering that, we've got to pop the hood. What is it about GPT-5 that's so different? Why is everyone calling it this huge leap forward?
So the biggest deal here is a total change in how it works. With GPT-4, you kind of had to tell it what tool to use, but with GPT-5, it's got this intelligent router that just figures it out for you, automatically switching between a quick, speedy model and a much deeper thinking model. It's also truly multimodal now, handling images way better, and its reasoning, well, they're calling it PhD level.
And then there's the context window. 400,000 tokens. That is a gigantic jump from GPT-4. To put that in perspective for you, it's like you can feed it an entire book, or a full scientific paper, or a patient's entire medical history all in one go.
And all this incredible power, well, that leads us right to the promise of GPT-5, especially in areas like medicine and science, where the potential just feels off the charts. I mean, the possibilities here are just staggering. We're talking about everything from accelerating drug discovery to acting as a co-pilot for doctors, maybe flagging something they might have missed. It can take mountains of scientific research and boil it down, or, and this is huge, translate a super complex medical report into plain English for a patient. Let's make this real. Think about designing a new drug. A researcher could literally ask GPT-5 to look at a molecule, suggest how to make it better, and then go sift through millions of other compounds to find matches. It can spit out actual testable ideas for the lab. A process that used to take years, now it could be radically faster. But it's not all just abstract science. The benefits here are deeply human. Take the story of a woman named Carolina, a cancer patient. She was diagnosed with 3 different cancers. Can you imagine? Just overwhelmed by all the medical jargon. She used the AI to actually understand what was happening to her. That didn't just give her facts, it gave her back a sense of control. It empowered her. And this isn't some maybe one day thing. Big names in healthcare are already doing this. Companies like Color Health are using it as an AI co-pilot right now, helping doctors build personalized cancer screening plans by looking at a patient's whole health record, their family history, everything. But of course, with all that power comes some serious risk. This whole utopian dream has a pretty dark side. So what happens when your pocket PhD gets it wrong? And that, right there, is the heart of the problem. Because when we're talking about life and death, a little mistake from an AI isn't just a bug. It could be a catastrophe. Imagine it suggests the wrong drug dose or completely misreads a critical lab result. To really get the risk, you have to know this one word, hallucination. That's when the AI just makes stuff up, but it says it with so much confidence you'd think it was absolute fact. Now, OpenAI, they worked hard to make GPT-5 better at this, but that risk, it's not zero, and maybe it never can be. And the dangers here, they come from all sides. You've got the black box problem. We don't really know how it gets its answers. Then there's bias. If the data it trained on is biased, well, the AI can just amplify those biases, making things like health disparities even worse. And then, of course, you've got huge questions about data privacy and, frankly, how we stay in control of a system that's getting more and more autonomous. So you have all this promise, all this peril, and it all just came to a head during GPT-5's actual launch, which, to be honest, was kind of a mess. Turns out, the real world is a much trickier place than a research lab. Yeah, the road to launch was bumpy from the start. They had this internal model, Orion, that was supposed to be GPT-5, but it just wasn't good enough. So they released it as a smaller update instead. Then, when the real GPT-5 finally launched on August 7th, expectations were sky high. And the backlash? It started less than a day later. I think one user really nailed the feeling perfectly. They said it felt like talking to an overworked secretary. So instead of this brilliant PhD everyone was promised, people felt like they got an AI that was just tired, uncreative, and basically phoning it in. And when you dig into the specific complaints, you really see why. People were calling the new personality flat, even lobotomized. That super smart router that was supposed to be the next big thing, people said it felt inconsistent and sometimes just made the model feel dumber. And then to top it all off, OpenAI just yanked access to older models like GPT-4u that people loved and had built their entire workflows on. Just gone, with no warning. This whole messy rollout really just highlights a fundamental truth. The tech is one thing, but how it impacts us, that's going to be defined by us. Which brings us to the really critical part, how we govern it. Policy experts have a pretty clear roadmap here. We desperately need new rules for data and for copyright when an AI creates something. We have to figure out who's accountable, who's liable when it goes wrong, and demand way more transparency than these black box systems give us. And maybe most important, the public, you, me, everyone, needs a seat at that table. It can't just be tech companies and experts making these calls. And all of this has to happen on a global scale to avoid some big race to the bottom on safety. So in the end, it really all boils down to this. GPT-5 isn't a savior and it's not a villain. It's a tool, an immensely powerful tool, maybe the most powerful one we've ever made. And just like any tool, its legacy, whether it's good or bad, is all about the choices we make and the rules we decide to play by. And all of this leads to the one question we absolutely have to answer, and we have to answer it soon. If that AI copilot makes a mistake, a fatal one, who is responsible? Is it the developer who wrote the code? The doctor who trusted it? The hospital that bought the system? How we answer that question, well, that's going to define our entire future with AI.